watch Markiplier play that.
And they can chase you.
So let's do this in real life. What do you think?
Yes.
All right, so thermal imaging. We're going to be using thermal imaging throughout the entire night. So what this guy does is it actually finds literal cold spots. This is an actual FLIR Pro 1 LT camera. What does that mean? This is a tool used by firemen and mechanics to help find leaks in your motor and to find leaks in your home by plumbers and electricians, that kind of thing. This is the real deal. We are going to be recording with this. It does record audio as well. So we're going to do a few starts and stops, only because as great as the hardware is, the software sucks. It's horrible. So if we record for too long, we lose all footage. So yeah, it's that bad. So I will always give cues for the cameras, and because we're going to use another different type of camera as well. So James, this one's actually going to go over to you. What you're going to do with this guy is you're going to keep this camera right here on your left-hand side. You're going to, there you go, perfect. So whenever I tell you to stop the video, it's that orange square that you see like on the left-hand side of your screen.
Right.
And it'll turn to a circle. When you restart it and I say let's get those cameras up and rolling again, you want to make sure that camera starts on the left-hand side. What happens with this video, guys, is that it goes to YouTube, and if he doesn't start it off that way because I splice it all together, you get an upside-down video. I got to give out James's phone number. It's not a good time. So again, make sure it stays on the left. So let's just kind of keep it
stays on the left.
You got it. Let's get the other camera out just so that we're all on the same page and I keep everything balanced.
A lot of pressure on the shoulders.
Yeah.
Hey, now you can go back whenever for your interview for the firefighter people and say, you know what device I used?
Oh, how cool.
Oh, the GoPro.
It's on my phone, but like, this is so fucking cool.
It is a GoPro. It's just altered for ghost hunting. So you guys should not be able to see me in that small screen. Right, I know it's only an inch and a half, so it's pretty dark in there.
Yeah.
So, these ladies see real quick?
Yep.
We're going to turn some lights on.
Let there be light.
Notice where you can't see that light with your own eyes.
Oh my God.
You need the camera to be able to see the light. We're working with full spectrum lighting here.
I'm so sorry.
You want one of those?
I don't know.
What we're looking for inside this camera are things we can't see with our own eyes because we're using light that we can't see with our own eyes. We're also going to be attaching some lasers to this guy, so another person's going to be operating the lasers. We can see the lasers very clearly when we're using this camera. So Matt, this one's going to go to you. This one also starts and stops. We've had trouble with this. This is relatively a new camera, so I'm going to set it on record just to make sure it's not going to lock up.
After this one, we can make a ghost show. The crazy
The three amigos. So is there a specific way? I mean, I know you said left, but like with my hand movement, like placement.
So here's what.
What's the easiest way for me to like? It's like
whatever is comfortable for you.
Okay, cool.
Just know that the camera is right here.
All right.
So at our first
stop,
stop,
I see my hand now. All
London and I are going to be working with all of you individually with the more hands-on experience. This is a quick intro just so you guys know what you're working with. Okay. So if you have one-on-one questions, I'm going to ask that you kind of hold on to those.
And you're going to tell me when to start this, right?
Just because I know Katie is super duper excited.
Right, I don't want to not film it the whole time and be like,
well,
oh,
she
sorry,
told
guys.
herself on the back.
We missed the whole show.
Spirit boxes. We're going to be using several different types tonight. So, yeah, we have 4 of them. All of them will be in play tonight. There are 3 different styles out of those 4. So this one in particular is going to sweep through FM radio stations and give you basically white noise. On your television shows, Zach Bagans usually throws the BS in the middle of the screen and tells you what he wants you to hear, kind of thing. That's not what we're going to be doing tonight.
It's like a Michael Keaton movie.
This is actually slowed down on purpose. I want the radio chatter to come through. If you hear song lyrics, DJs, commercials, and you can make out what they're saying, it's a 50-50 shot. I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person we're talking about in history, or something going on with one of us. This one will record the entire session for us. Only the sweep. So, the cool thing is I have 2 of these. So one's going to go to each group. Obviously, Katie's going to get one because she's on overload. So you're going to have a set of earbuds with these ones. So I'm going to give you a set of earbuds. I do not want them back because earwax is gross.
I clean my ears every day.
So with that said, this one is going to be the only one that records. So even if Katie has a hard time hearing this, it's okay. I'm going to go through it and spot check it tomorrow and give you 15 to 20 other markers that I hear tomorrow morning, whether it's relevant or not. It's going to help train your ear to listen to the entire recording. If it is relevant to the person, the place, one of us, I'm going to tell you why and give you a link to verify my info. Is that fair? Yeah, and I don't make anything up here.
Yeah.
I think James is getting very impressed.
This is
I'm getting pretty cool. I mean, this whole camera thing, like, is pretty sweet. I have a big responsibility.
Choosing who's going to get which device.
This is literally why I wanted this. Because he doesn't make anything.
I've never done this before. This is cool.
Yeah,
Like,
Terry,
I haven't even seen anything yet.
They always do the they did this. I remember Terry told me she went through a battlefield and she felt like she got shot in the leg because her leg was in pain, and when she walked through the field and when she got away from the field, her leg felt fine to walk on.
Wow.
Like, or
Hopefully he doesn't care about cursing, because I'm going to be saying some shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Oh, no.
yeah, like,
Don't kill me.
I like Sam and I. We want
Emily, you're going to get one too.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna see you say. Oh.
Yours will not record.
This isn't like 13 Ghosts, right? We don't need special glasses or anything? Alright.
You know what's funny about that? I actually have some high-tech guy who works for Google that has contacted me that wants to test out new glasses that do everything I'm bringing out right now.
Dude, you gotta get those.
It's only going to run me about $2,000 a pair.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So then you're gonna make sure no one really uses that.
Let's just say the ticket prices will be much higher.
Yeah, or put insurance on that.
Your volume button is the same. It's a wheel right here. I'm going to get you a set of earbuds. You don't need to worry about anything else. It's not recording. But I do have it set up to the slowest sweep possible. Your earbud is going to be plugged in right there. So
So, Nick, you said you're going to tell me when to press record, right?
it's already
It's recording now? Alright, cool.
Did you press something? So
No, I didn't press anything. I just want to make sure I'm hitting record when you say record.
Do you want me to put the light on for you?
Yes, they are. Especially when I find out which right there. Yep. I just want to get it.
So how much did all this gear cost?
Oh, we can talk about that later.
I want to know how much this costs.
She has actually researched
$1 million.
spirit boxes, and they are anywhere from $100 to $800.
Oh,
So
You can get a cheap one on Amazon, but I don't know if I trust that.
yeah, I wouldn't trust that. I'd go for the
So,
most
just
expensive.
to answer everybody's question, because I want to move on because we have a lot to cover.
Yeah.
At the top of your data page tomorrow, I have every piece of equipment that I use and all the resources where I get my information in what I call the shop. So you can go there and you can see where I get all the equipment and know these things do not run over $100 to $800.
Someone's going Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
I cannot impulse buy. I can't impulse buy.
Next spirit box. So this
I
one
can.
is going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen. Kind of like an ovulus, only this one has a much bigger vocabulary. So if you're familiar with that term ovulus, this one will also save all the words to a list. This is the first thing I go to when I'm going through your data. My last tour that I did had 95 terms in there. I'm going to clear them out and start you guys off fresh. Here's what I'm going to tell you about the list. 80% of it means absolutely nothing.
Okay. Oh, wow.
It is meant to be a game and a hoax. The other 20%, I'm going to give you the full list, because sometimes you might have a cat named Radar, and it said Cat Radar, and it's somebody that you brought with you that wanted to portray it and let you know that they were here. That happens all the time. So, with that said, I'm going to give you the full list. I'm only going to highlight and give you the links to the things that I find relevant to the stories from the tour. So,
I don't
keep that
have
in
to do
mind.
anything to hold it.
Nope, and London will
I've
show you
had
against the
dreams
other
about
piece
that
here.
stuff happening. I believe
Like
in
hear
that
anything
stuff
that's
so
going
much.
through right now? Has
I
it
have so
started?
many questions when this
Yeah, I
is
can
over.
hear. It's like.
Yeah, I want to hear
I cannot express.
Oh, I know. I'll be with you.
that. I lost your name.
Bailey.
Bailey.
We call her Boo if it's.
Oh, that's
We have
appropriate.
Bailey and Haley, right?
I'm
Yep.
Haley.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Bailey, you're going to also have a spirit box. Yours does not have
I don't like that
earphones.
Okay.
It also does not record. So,
I want to
yours is open air.
That's my.
So the only thing,
I
like
like-
that means somebody
I
can
like
help
more
listen in. So if
spiritual
mom wanted to help
stuff,
listen
like,
in
I
on this
like
one,
more
she can.
angels.
You have one button as well. Obviously when I'm talking to the full group, you want to hold this button down
angels.
gently, like it's a slide down. You just hold it there, and it'll go down, and then you hold it back up to get the volume. You got to be patient because it
You
takes a
could see
second
an
for it to get the
angel
volume back.
instead of
You see where I'm going with that?
the crazy.
So again, as I'm talking to the group, we'll keep it down, but you can see the buttons right there, and you don't push it in,
So
you
if
push
hear
it down.
if it's
Okay.
It's
You got
like
the OG file.
hi.
Yeah, that's the.
She's happy.
You're gonna
Yeah,
see.
she's really
You're gonna
happy
see
about
Patrick Swayze.
Oh my
We'll
God!
get
If I
these
saw
out of the way.
Patrick in
So this is the
Crazy
neuralizer
for
from Men in
Swayze.
Black. None of you are going to remember anything.
Yeah. Yes.
I just watched that
Oh,
yesterday.
I was watching that too.
I watched Men in Black 3.
Love it.
Lasers. Why do we use lasers? First off, Matt's camera can see these lasers really, really well. You guys can see the dots on the ground, but you can't see the lasers themselves until something passes through it. So the person that has these, Mary, you're going to be working with Matt, so that way he can actually see what's going on through here. We used to just take literally hundreds of pictures, much easier to watch a video. We're going to be using 2 different styles. This one, same thing. If we capture something here, I can then put it in 3D software and give you a full 3D view of what we have along with measurements. So do I have anything of proof in the past year since I've had this that this 3D software will acknowledge? I do not. I'm just being blunt and honest. Do I have things where I try to? I do. So again, it's very cool stuff, especially when we put it with the full spectrum camera. Lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble, can set off car alarms. We keep them on the ground. This one's a toggle switch, so once you turn it on, it stays on.
Okay.
This one, once you have to hold the button to keep it on.
Okay.
So just kind of keep that in mind. I will be the bad dad with these and say watch your lasers all the time if I see them all over.
Okay.
Also, don't cross the streets.
Yes. So when you're using those,
Yes.
bad Ghostbuster joke, but it works here. So when you use those, you literally want to create as much lasers as possible instead of having them intermix, because then that creates a, not necessarily, just side by side is fine. You don't have to walk around like you do.
You're using them both at the same time, right?
Yes.
I recorded it the other day.
I always know the song.
Miss Mary,
I know the song,
your job is super
but I've never watched it.
Okay.
so you guys have seen these on TV, right? EMF detectors.
Yes.
So
No.
basically, in a nutshell, any type of electricity is going to make this thing go off, including cell phones, if it's touching it. Your job. So that's
okay.
So this helps us debunk a lot of things. It doesn't vibrate. You don't have to do anything besides let us know when the lights go off. Okay, so again, we're still going to use this to try to debunk a lot of things, and unless I have another clue from another device, we're probably going to dismiss it.
Okay.
But again, this is one of our first indications that something might be happening.
Now, okay, so tell you if the green light goes off?
No.
It will turn different colors on the light.
It doesn't work.
It would be like red.
Okay, I
So
know
it
what
doesn't
it
like
all
my
the
phone.
way.
Okay.
is.
Hers or her work.
But if
So-
it goes like,
Haley,
It'll
last
go
but
all
not
the way
least,
to
you're
the
my
right.
multitasker.
London's
Gotcha.
phone works love her. There we
see
go.
how
See
it
that?
Oh, okay.
goes, moves?
So if I see that, let you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Dude,
I
this
can
is
do
so
that.
cool.
This is a millimeter. So basically, Haley's job is going to be 3 different types of functions. This device also has an EMF detector in it. It's a little bit more accurate, and it's digital. Anything above 2.5 on your big numbers, I want to know what's going on. Yours only goes to 25 milligauss. This one goes all the way up to 200.
Oh.
So I need to know what's going
Big
on with this
boy.
guy for sure.
Okay.
I am also giving this to this group because James, yes, got names.
Hey.
So James is actually measuring different temperatures, correct?
Okay.
We
Yeah.
need to know what the ambient temperature is. If he finds something in the camera, you and I can debunk it pretty quickly with the ambient probe at the top. That's what your bottom number is. Last but not least, it has a motion sensor in it. Something gets close to that antenna I just pulled out, it will go off. So, and if it's things that you cannot see, we're going to talk more about that as at our first location. For now, I'm going to keep it turned off because I need to know that you can turn it on and off.
Okay.
So me and London will work with you on this guy. So right now, just focus on the numbers on your red screen. All right, you guys go have fun. Let me know what happens.
I think just from this, he's going to see us again.
I already feel it
I'm
coming.
going to give you all my money.
First question:
Yes.
are you a ghost?
No, I get asked it all the time. You want to test me? Go ahead. Put it against my arm. See, look. Nothing.
No.
I mean,
what a ghost will say.
Wait a minute.
exactly what a ghost is.
Am I a
Yeah.
ghost?
No.
I gotta send this to my.
I mean, I'm seeing heat signatures. I feel like the Predator.
I know, right? It's pretty cool to watch.
This is pretty badass.
So, let's talk about why we started here. This is Big John's behind me, right? So Big John's just reopened a few months ago, late summer. This place has been reopened as Big John's. There's been a couple of things in between. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. This was his bar. He sat in the back. He used to tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in. They're not old enough to drink. Big John tells the bartender to get them the hell out of here. They leave pretty angry. They come back the next night and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on and is pissed off. He gets up and just starts beating the hell out of these guys, pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets hit in the neck and the bullet lands in the wall. John, after being shot, gets up, goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor, an ambulance. Nobody dies in that story. What's haunting the place is the alleged bullet hole that's still here. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. This is why we start here. This is a heated warning. If anybody feels any of those things tonight, we need to know immediately so that we can move that person to safety as a group. Not to say that we're going to deal with anything malevolent tonight. Again, this
Then
is
you're
just a
gonna
heated
feel
warning.
Don't let your brain make you think you feel
Right.
it. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's-
We are
no,
going
I
to
don't
prove
think so.
to you tonight that ghost hunting is not a scary
It's not.
stigma thing that they put on
That's
TV.
what you need.
Yeah, I know.
So we all had a beer there before we met.
Where did you sit?
Right in the front of the, like in the
Anybody have a
red
headache?
chairs.
No.
No, it was a good beer.
It was great.
Like,
God,
Good.
nice solid beer.
You need to come to Trident. I work at Trident Hospital, and we have ghosts. We really do. Patients have seen a little boy running around, and it's true.
Which,
Trident Hospital.
okay.
It was built on a farm, and the little boy fell into the silo. He still haunts Trident.
We'll have to talk more.
Yeah.
you got to go to Cincinnati. You go to the Golden Lamb.
So here's, because everybody has a story.
Yes.
What I ask is you're all going to have my contact info aside from my phone number. Email me these locations. I do travel. So if I am out and about traveling, I keep email files based on the state. So that way if I'm passing through that state, I pull on the wife and say, pull over, we need to stop here.
You need to come out there. You
Let's talk about something a little bit better than our own health with Big John's. Locals, you already know we had a big earthquake here in 1886. We had a big earthquake here in 1886. It's a big deal for us because this is the East Coast. We're not supposed to have earthquakes. This is allegedly where the first death occurred. A piece of the mantling from the middle of the building that you see also wraps around the front on the East Bay side. The earthquake caused a piece of that to break off, strike somebody in the back of the head, and kill them. They say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. I say allegedly a lot with this story because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. Oh, did I point at you? I'm sorry, Mary. All right, are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
So should I be like in front or
No.
should I, what am I doing?
I
Oh,
think when
sorry.
we get to our location, we'll be good.
Okay.
I think we're home. Yeah, you'll hear like whenever it's a radio, it's like it's going through radio stations, and when a ghost is trying to communicate with you, they want to either try to say a phrase, and they'll say random phrases like
Fig
it's like a
Newtons.
spirit box, like come on my street, hello, kill, like something like that. It's like something. It's like a song lyric. Yeah, it could be like a song lyric. It could be even like they could even try to find a station. They could
Take on me.
like the funny thing
Is the moon
so
hot?
There is a location.
I do not see it. It is not hot.
We're going to talk about all that. So let's bring it in. This is your first practice area. Your entire time for me, your jingle bells are going to be awesome on your audio, just saying. Your entire time with me should be thought of as kind of a ghost hunting 101. Okay, so this is a level 1. This is an easy spot. This is just really a quick one-liner history so everybody gets used to their devices with a little bit more hands-on. London and I will be bouncing around with all of you. First thing I want to point out is we're going to be hitting some spaces like this where there's going to be other vehicles. People do not like their cars being filmed. So just kind of keep that in mind. At that point, you're not acting like a filmmaker. You're just casually holding whatever device you have. So again, you'd be surprised. I've been screamed out plenty of times. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. Okay? That's the big red barn behind you. So this is the same location where we held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. That's your history. That's it. So let's talk spirit boxes. There's 4 of them in play tonight. And by the way, I don't care if you guys smoke. I've seen there's a lot of smokers here. It doesn't bother me.
It's vape.
Yeah,
It's a vape.
Well, I vape too, so
Yeah.
again, it doesn't bother me.
Where else?
But anyways, spirit boxes. This is not television. This is not. Is somebody here? Because if somebody answers no, somebody's here. We do not ask yes and no questions on a real investigation. Your television shows put that out there because it's easy to do. If you hear the word houses on your spirit box, you already think you've heard the word yes. S and O are 2 of the most common sounds in the English language. Trust me, that's what I went to school for. So we're going to stay away from those yes and no questions. You guys want paranormal proof? We're going to get it by asking direct questions that can be answered with direct answers. For example, what color is the big red barn? Obviously, we know the answer to that, right? It's red. we're going to be listening and looking. Where's my looking? So we're going to be looking for the color red on your list. However, the 3 spirit boxes that are using DJs and song lyrics to convey messages, the word red might not be in the vocabulary. You might have fire truck, blood, heart. All 3 of those things are specifically red. So that would be an acceptable answer. Here's what I'm also going to tell you about your spirit boxes tonight. Most of the night, I'm going to, unless it's a direct answer, like what color is a big red barn and you get fire truck, boom, I'm good. However, most of these are going to be very loose clues. We need 2 or more to verify what's going on. Like an EMF reading would be another good example. But let's say, I'm losing names.
Sin.
Sin has the word art on her list, right? And you hear the number 40. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. That would make sense to me. We're going to be dealing with a lot of the same names tonight. Lots of Marys, lots of Elizas, Georges, Johns, that kind of thing. We need to know who the hell we're talking to. So again, you're not always going to know what the other person's hearing. That's what me and London are for. When we're in spaces like this, we will spread out. You will stick with another person from your party, especially some of you are teamed up. So just based on the devices that you have. With that said, we don't go near vehicles. We don't go even in between vehicles to try to get a reading anywhere. So again, we're just going to be respectful. It's a busy holiday weekend, so we're going to be respectful. Not everybody knows what we're doing. So that's how spirit boxes are going to go tonight. So spirit boxes can basically spread out. London's going to bounce around with the EMF readers and probably go with Haley first to show her how to use that. And that way I can work with the 2 video cameramen and get them going. We're only going to spend about 5 minutes here before we move on to our next spot, which is a level 2. You will not get the answers like what color is the big red barn. So those questions that we're going to be asking in the next location, you're not going to know the answers. I'm not going to be putting messages in your head. So video cameramen, stay with me. Everybody else, spread out, get used to your devices. Lasers, you can stick around, Mary, because you kind of need to see how this is going to go. So we'll work with Matt and
Who do I work with?
you 2 can actually stick together.
Minion.
All right, so
Layla.
with yours, I'm literally looking for things in the darkness if I'm not looking at the lasers. Now, I'm sure you already kind of were pointing your camera down at the lasers. You have 2 different lights working for you. So you have short range, which is right here, right? You can turn it on and off at leisure. Why? Because if somebody gets too close, they bleach it out. You can turn it off, and your long range is still working for you. Now, the other light on here, just so you know, the spot switch gives us night vision. We don't want night vision.
Stop it, Mom.
The reason
Don't
why
freak
is
her
because
out.
it's
That's true.
No,
It's going everywhere.
Again, whatever you're comfortable with, if you're right-handed, by all means, keep it that way. You can move this camera, so you just tighten it down here at the bottom. So has it froze up at all?
No, it's been running the whole time.
Nice.
Wait, it's not a freak
just so you
out
know,
thing?
too, it will
No, it's not, it's
do
not
like a little
freak out
flicker
thing.
at, what's the time?
It's just a thing.
I can't remember, but it's so many minutes, it'll do a little flicker and start a new file. It's nothing paranormal. It's just
Is
the
it
file's
still
go up to
doing
4 gigs,
No.
and that's it. So it remakes another file. I splice it all together, so you have one video tomorrow.
If you just lie, because I
Just
just
so you know what's going on.
No, but
yeah,
it's
with
not.
the lasers,
It's not
I'm sure you guys got the
it's
gist. Just put them on the
area.
ground, right in front of you, 3 to 5 feet. You're
That
gonna
just
be
gives you a mapping detail of
pretty much it. And you don't have to point it down. I know what the dots look like on the ground. Point it through it.
Yeah, because she shakes it.
Yeah, exactly. Your camera. Let's move on to you. Do you notice the blue dot bouncing around?
That one right there?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's giving you the coldest spot on your screen at that given moment.
Dude.
I also left the center crosshairs on there in case you need to measure something specifically. So that way you can move the camera to put the center crosshairs on whatever you need to.
So then
You also have a cheat sheet.
so it means that is like a ghost right on her head?
No, it just means that the coldest spot in the frame is right above her. So she's wearing sequins above on her hat, which means it's going to be colder than anything else out there.
explain this to me.
Okay.
So again, I'm looking for those blue and black spots to move on their own. I want something to take shape. I want basically as dark as it can go, and look at the temperature variance. Like you have, it says from 110 all the way down to 85. So I don't know where the 110 is coming from. Looks like it's coming from Mary's face because it's obviously a little white. But again, it's probably a little bit off. So let's hit the stop button and start. Should be, there we go. That looks a little better. See how it was all the way up to 110? It was probably just warm from being in my bag. So when you reset it, it kind of recalibrates itself.
You calm it down.
So I'll splice those videos
But
together. It's
still,
not a
yeah,
big deal.
when
Plus,
you
everybody
know
can
it's
hear
red,
it.
it goes
You also
red.
want to try to keep somebody's skin temperature in view. We have a big party tonight. It's going to be easy to do for you tonight.
Yeah.
The reason why is because if you take everybody out of the screen, watch how the red comes into play.
Ah, okay.
See how it all comes in?
See,
It
Yeah.
gives you the variant, and that way it's much easier to see those cold spots taking shape and moving on their own. Does this camera capture something every night? It does not. I get about 4 solid pieces a year.
Yeah, that's why it's called ghost
That's it.
hunting.
Again, because I'm looking for literal cold spots. I'm looking for the science behind this to make sense. So again, when I get something that's in motion
Yeah.
and it's good stuff, it's good stuff. It's a holy shit moment. It's not a, oh, I can't tell what that is. I don't know. Let's call it paranormal. Like, I'm looking for shapes. I'm looking for human shapes. I'm looking for something to ball up and get black and move away on its own. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. So, are you going to capture something tonight? I hope so. But you also want to try to keep the sky out of view. Where's your blue dot at now? Your blue dot will always go to the sky if it's in view. Because it doesn't know what to measure. It's not solid.
Well, now it's right.
Because the sky's not in
It's
view.
moving.
You have the barn in view. Angle it so the sky's in view. Just want to prove a point here. See how it goes straight to the sky?
Right.
Because it doesn't know what to measure.
Gotcha. Okay.
Slower movements make a much better video to watch, just so you know.
I like to say I have steady hands, but it all depends on the situation.
So I'll also tell you, again, the way you're holding it now, if somebody's going to their car, I want you to immediately drop it like you're just casually holding a device.
Okay.
So that way you're not like, I'm watching your car, dude.
Right.
If I was a car thief, this would be my first
I know,
tool.
but I think it's
Right.
just
They have no idea what we're doing out here, and I'm not here to piss anybody off. I'm here to let people have some fun.
I get you.
But it said, do you see what
Yeah,
I
if you
see?
see me doing
Yeah,
that,
clear
call me
as
out.
day.
Let me know.
Yeah, but like
I
that
will.
phrase takes a while to get out. So she was showing you what
And this only does that around her. Without doing it. This area. Okay, so
It's going through. It'll stop sometimes. Like, so it did do cardinal for like the color Mars. I would try and use that as like cardinal thread. Yeah. But like, so what types of questions should I be asking?
No, I can take a second.
Okay.
Yes, she did. She showed me how to turn it off. And she showed me how to zero it. And then I did get I did get a 7.1.
Stay out of my thing. I said, do you see what I see? And then like clear as day.
it has nothing to do with Christmas. See, look. I don't know if I want to wait a turn.
I don't necessarily have to.
Sure, it's not on your
I don't want to. If I tell you, hey, put this on the ground.
Does this go into the bed?
You hear anything?
The loudest thing I've heard has been house manual.
House
Manual. is
House
what the word
manual?
was.
Okay, have you heard anything?
The biggest thing I've heard house, and then after I've heard manual, that's like the clearest thing I've heard.
Okay. You heard something. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, I say we go learn into some real history. Let's go this way. All right, everybody, we're going to move on to our next stop. Let's go learn some real history.
It's so bright tonight. What, did you get any cool temps?
No, just I mean, around like the sky. So he said that that would be like.
I'm so sorry. My bad. My bad. This is super loud.
And I'm supposed to be looking for 2.5.
Remember, y'all talking
We really got something.
Did y'all get anything yet?
So I got cardinal. Like, I heard cardinal.
So when she was showing me what Hannah was doing, clear as day to my radio. Do you see what I see? The entire phrase from the song. I'm like, okay.
Oh my god. Maybe. Oh, wait a minute. Something goes from red. You have to listen.
But
I like the thermo camera. 'Cause,
Dude,
like,
this
you
is
can see-
badass.
Like, this is so cool. I know. I always wanted to do something like a ghost, like.
The activity coming on this right now is crazy. It's all the way to red.
It's all the way. Don't have nothing to do with you.
Is this it?
Oh, wow.
This is the mansion site.
Keep walking, Ma.
This is a what site?
The Pinckney
mansion.
Mansion site?
Where he said it was a parking lot now. There's a lot of activity.
Good lord.
That's why Kate, you and Katie need to call. Yeah.
All right, so spirit box is down. It's time to actually learn something other than ponies and football players. So, welcome to the Pinckney Mansion site. This is one of the most active places I've ever been to. Just so you guys know, you guys were asking me about this earlier. I know it's just a beautiful parking lot, but there's a lot of history here. So let's get to it. First off, questions with the spirit boxes. I'm not going to be giving you questions, like I said, like what color is George Washington's white horse.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes. So. Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. That's two different Charleses. Remember I told you I need two clues? They also had a nephew named Charles.
Oh, wow.
That's three Charleses that we're dealing with. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. This is where they were raised. However, well, you guys are locals, but some of you are on vacation and don't want to talk about South Carolina politics, and neither do I. So let's talk about Eliza. She's way cooler anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age, according to today's standards. Because Eliza lived in colonial times. And when you think of marriages in colonial times, you usually think 12 to 14-year-olds. That wasn't the case. I'm not going to tell you what her age was when she did get married, but I will tell you that Charles, her husband, was over double her age. So, those are the kind of numbers you're looking for. She married him because her father, over in England, thought he was dying. And he wanted to see all of his kids one last time. And she didn't believe he was dying. So she stayed put and she got married. This is colonial times. You didn't get married for a green card or anything like that. We weren't even states yet. Right? So she did marry him out of love, and yes, she did remain a widow after his death, just so you know. A lot of people like to ask those type of questions. I'm going to give that one to you. So she was right. Dad didn't die right away. He started sending gifts from England to this site where she lived. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes seeds, that makes blue dye, that makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. It started right where you're standing. Here's where it gets a little weird. Indigo was already here from the Gullah slaves, and Eliza didn't understand all of our temperatures just yet. She had been here for quite some time, but she was an experimental botanist. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it going in our weird temperatures. So once she had it figured out, she moved it to Mount Pleasant. So one of their other plantation homes up there, she calls her dad, not literally because it's colonial times, and says, hey, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. Now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times.
Jeez.
This is insane for the time period.
Yeah.
That's the general history. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are here, right? So, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back, same year. First wife Eliza died, then he marries this one about 6 months later. They both, ironically, have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Find out which one you're talking to. Now we're dealing with 3 Charleses, 2 Elizas. So, you can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. I will also point out that the mansion sat broadside on East Bay Street. That's a big deal. If you notice our houses down on the Battery, they're skinny in the front and go long back. There's a couple of reasons for that. First off, you were taxed on how much street side you took, which means the Pinckneys didn't care about how much they were taxed. It was bragging rights. We can afford this, you can't. That's how that went down. So that's why I like to point that out. Where was I?
The second.
Oh,
the house.
The house. Find out what happened to it and what year that happened. Kind of take in stride that it's going to be a tragedy. I'm going to give you that clue right there. Children. I already gave you one. Charles, signer of the Constitution, right? There's more. However, make it simple. There's a tragedy among those children that she does not want to talk about. We are not going to be disrespectful. We're getting close to her birthday, which I'm not going to tell you what that date is either, so I'll let you know if that comes through. But with that said, get the names of the children, how many boys, how many girls, leave it alone. If you poke the bear with that tragedy, all activity will stop, including Mary's device will go down to green, and we won't see anything else. And it won't just stop here, it will stop throughout your entire tour. I've seen it dozens of times. If I have a light night, I know somebody poked the bear and didn't tell me. It's just how it goes. I've had people confess with phone call later, but it happens. Let's see, Eliza's death. That's where it gets really kind of cool, where everybody wants to dive in. Eliza, you can ask her anything you want to about her death. When did you die? What did you die from? Where are you buried? And what president took you to your grave? Yes, a president took her to her grave. These are big questions that obviously give you definitive non-yes or no questions. So if you go rogue with your questions, let me know what those rogue questions are. You don't have to use my examples. If there's something else that we can figure out and prove, then by all means ask. Names and dates normally don't lie. So names and numbers rather. So they can tie to anything. Imagine there's a lot of kids here too. Layout of the land. The front was the mansion. Eliza's garden was lined up right there behind Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters. I will tell you, if you get things relevant to the slaves and the servants that were here, I cannot prove any of it. There's no records.
Gotcha.
Plain and simple. I did talk about the kids. Do you guys want to see what Eliza looked like before you get started? Will that help with your spirit box activity?
Sure.
Okay. I do bring a tablet for certain pictures throughout the night, and then some of them actually reveal the answers to some of the questions that I'll be giving you throughout the night. So I'm very careful on how I show these to you.
I do have one question.
Yes.
So with the spirit boxes, should we stay in one spot if we get anything, or should we
You should be
continuously?
following the EMF readers.
Okay.
So that would be Miss Mary and Haley.
But if
That's
we
why
get
they're-
like a high spot, should we? And if it doesn't go away, should we just kind of?
With all the lights lighting,
Okay.
stay there.
This is what Eliza looked like.
Okay.
Very prominent English woman.
International businesswoman.
Yep.
Sure. She's beautiful.
Kind of give you the layout of the
That
land.
scared me.
Yeah. Also keep in mind, with it being a holiday weekend, some of our homeless might be out and about, and they do like to use the top corners. I'm going to go up and check. I did peek around the corners on my way down to meet you guys.
I'll flat out be honest with you. I probably know them because I've worked in psych for 7 years. Not even
Did she hit
joking.
that
See them a
pole?
lot.
Yep.
And me and London have a couple
did,
of run-in
right?
stories that we can tell
That
you along the
woman
way.
at that light pole.
Yeah,
She probably shouldn't be driving.
Again, with the cars, be mindful of vehicles. Lasers will set off car alarms. So again, straight down. I know, right? Let's spread out. I got to check you guys in on the website that you guys bought your tickets from, so give me just a few minutes. London, choose whoever you want to go with to help out. Look at her jumping in already.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Way to insult everybody, London. No, I'm
My
kidding.
bad.
Let's spread out. You're still recording, right, James? You still the square?
Yes, sir.
Don't pay attention to the timer, by the way. I forgot to tell you about that. And you're still running on your end. It hasn't locked up, which is awesome. Good deal. Let's spread out. I'll be with you guys in just a minute.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of.
This was really, everything was off when we walked
So I go it.
So I just need to keep at least one person in view.
Sometimes it's going to be, it should be easy to do with this size of a party. But even off in the distance is fine, like the way they are now.
Yeah.
Just so you have somebody's skin temperature. So somebody with short sleeves, its arms are revealed, so forth and so on.
Gotcha.
Oh, right here. Okay. We got all the lights.
Okay. Hold that number. I'll write it down as soon as I get back.
It's just like right here. I'm sorry, I'm like listening. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like. Sorry. Trying to think of a
When I was standing next to you, whenever this was like it was a 7.6.
I don't want to know that. I'm trying to correlate my words. Eliza, what was your favorite thing to watch?
So, I
don't know if that's a shot or a shot.
There's a car behind you.
Hallelujah. Hey.
Anything?
Yeah. I just got hallelujah. I don't know if that's yelling. I'm trying to get out. Praise the Lord.
Right here. Look here, baby.
I'm trying to keep everybody in frame so I can have at least a heat signature. I don't want to get the cars.
Eliza, where are you buried? Okay. It's because I'm just looking too much. It's so close. So close. So close. There's so much person.
I gotta pick it back up. It's real bright right here. Oh wow. I don't like Christmas tree.
Can you re-ask questions like that? Eliza. I want to know, what Eliza am I speaking to right now? Is it Charles' first wife or his second? Name? I don't know what that means. I asked what wife, first or second, and they said Maine. So like, is Maine wife?
I don't know, but this is the hot spot right here. We get to the fraction. These ones really don't move on.
Eliza, why I'm talking to Charles, second wife Eliza, how many children did you have?
So that's a possibility. I'm not going to call it anything yet. How are you doing on yours?
Not necessarily. Not that
I'm getting a lot of action, but you're not.
she's getting a lot of activity. I've been trying to. What color are you setting on? But if there is stuff coming through my place, it's not.
You seen anything?
I'm getting my blue.
I do want to talk about this next Christmas, but I want to Christmas music.
What's your oldest child's name? My child. Hopefully not, because I don't have children.
I don't want blue.
Have you seen anything?
No, I honestly, no, I'm just trying to keep somebody in frame, so, because he said try and keep a heat signature. So I'm just like scanning the parking lot, make sure one of you guys is in frame.
What do you call it? If we don't show heat, then we're dead, right?
Yeah, right?
Vampires. Oh, we're by a church.
I smell a lot of garlic. I don't think vampires will be around.
That's true.
Yeah.
What's your oldest child's name?
also seen that not give me anything
When did
at
you
all
die?
in here. So that should tell you.
When did you die?
There's a lot tonight.
When did you die?
Okay, it's dead. Oh, right here. Wait a minute.
How did she die?
It's right in here. Right in here. Yeah. Ask now. It's right there. It's right there.
Girls, how many kids do you have?
Sir?
Okay. I'm just trying to keep somebody in frame, but I'm not seeing anything like jumping out at me.
Okay. Like I said, I get about 4 solid pieces a year. So, fingers crossed you're one of those pieces.
Right.
But again, we never know. And we won't know until we record it and watch it later. That's why I put it on YouTube. So like I was just telling Matt, you can watch it on your TV, your phone, your computer. That's why I put it on YouTube.
Yeah,
so that
cool.
way, I mean, when me and London have something questionable, we throw the damn thing up on the TV and we analyze it.
That's awesome.
Like frame by frame. Like what's going on with this.
So like I don't know if I'm moving like too fast. I'm just trying to like get everybody.
Let me put it to you this way. That camera is handled 6 times a week by 6 different people. There's nothing I haven't seen as far as bad cameramen.
All right.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I'm no Martin Scorsese, so. Matt, you seen anything?
She believes she picked up something.
Eliza, how many children do you have?
Did my name just pop up? Hello, Eliza. Uncommon. See my name? It is not uncommon at all.
That's pretty close.
Okay. That makes me happy. I'm good with that.
Seen anything?
His name.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey Eliza, what is my name?
It just says rain. Contact.
near you? What? Get out of here. Do run? No.
Yeah.
Get... Okay.
And he said one buried was significant. And when we were back there, throat. Because the guy got shot in the throat.
Oh, wow.
Some that I didn't like. Evil. Devil.
What was the word? I heard you say something. Where I don't like that word.
Yeah, evil and devil.
Oh, man. That was around Big John's?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. That's crazy.
Like, this is cheesy. What questions am I supposed to be asking here and stuff? So I'm not even like,
I'm just trying to keep somebody in view.
I've always watched, what do you call it, some like, when you go on investigations and say like, I have been, I will come visit you so often, and like, the ghost will usually call for my name when I come. Yeah.
that's cool.
You just said cool.
I'm going to do one more quick round robin and then bring everybody up here to kind of let you guys know what's going on.
Okay.
Can you make it blue, Eliza? Can you stay here? Can you make it blue again? Were you a Christian? Was she a Christian? Were you a Christian? Were you religious? Okay. Huh?
But Katie, what you need to do, as far as I know, when you ask what you need to go for that list.
Well,
Is that
that's why I was
right?
following you. Is that it? Okay. Oh, sorry. Am I like?
No, I'm trying to keep somebody in frame. That's what I was told to do.
Come here, Katie. I'm listening. I just want to
All right, let's go as far up into this corner as we can.
What, this one? Or I want to see this one. Maybe I don't.
I mean,
Maybe I don't want to know.
That thing and these guys.
all right.
Period.
That would be.
This thing is
So
badass.
a couple of
It
things
looks
that
fun.
have occurred. We've had EMF spikes on the millimeter with Haley all the way up to 25.9. Very significant, so nice job. Yours went 15 to 25, so yours is just more sensitive. So with her readings, they are more accurate. Yours is kind of like a helping along. So that's why I accompany you with the spirit box that way.
Okay.
She just said cool.
I will tell you on Sin's word list, my name did show up. That is not uncommon for this location. However, it has been a while since Eliza or Charles has called out my name here. But I will tell you, when I first started this tour during the first year, I probably heard my name over 100 times.
Wow.
And that wasn't just from one type of spirit box, like the one we have on the digital word list. I'm talking several different types. And I used to use another type of spirit box, which it's very complicated. That's why I stopped using it. Because again, this is more for fun. And it was very complicated to learn how to use it. It was a reverse spirit box, but my name showed up quite often on that as well. So I'm very pleased with my name showing up here. It shows that we're going to actually have a pretty good night through the rest of our tour. We did have a question being asked of when or how old were you when you got married? And the numbers 4-4 were heard. That is the year that Eliza and Charles got married.
Wow.
1744. So, yes. Some stories will tell you 1745, but others have said 44. Just so you guys know. Records that old can be a little sketchy. So let's start with what happened to the mansion. I'm sorry, do we have something else?
Yeah, well, it says structural, but
She asked what was the favorite food,
I
and
said,
we
what
heard
was
rice.
your favorite food? And we heard rice.
I don't know that.
on Bailey's.
Yeah.
The mansion caught fire 1861. This is where you're standing right now.
Oh, wow.
So every tour guide is going to tell you about a great fire. You can stop your videos now, by the way, and kind of give your hands a rest. This fire in particular started up near the Harris Teeter by some homeless people. It got out of hand, came down here, took out half the mansion as you can see, and literally went to the other side of the peninsula. This was a giant fire.
Wow.
So the words fire, I've heard 61 here before. Very interesting when you get things about the fire. However, I don't think I heard anybody even ask what happened to the mansion. So again, that might be the reason why that didn't pop up. The children, let's get into them. Charles, you know, signer of the Constitution. There were 4 kids total. Okay, so that's where I was going when you told me the number 4, but you said you heard 2 of them.
Yeah.
So Charles was the signer. Then we have Thomas. He fought in a Revolutionary War battle. He was captured and shot in the left leg, which left him on a cane the rest of his days. You could see all the keyword terms that I look for when I'm going through your data. George, that's the tragedy I asked you all not to talk about with her. George, we don't know how old George was, whether days or weeks. There's no headstone. The death certificate has the same month and year as the birth and death. Yes.
Was he the oldest? Or
No.
Okay, because we asked him, was he the oldest? Or who was the oldest child?
Okay.
So, didn't know if that was going to spark up the bears.
Not necessarily. I don't think I know their ages.
I didn't know, so we just asked him.
I just like to do the boys first, and then there's only one daughter.
Yeah, we asked who's the oldest child. And,
I want to say it was Thomas. Could be. But George, the interesting thing about that, based on the religion of her English heritage, it's a possibility, and I'm not going to say that this is true, that they would have kept the baby's body here mummified, waiting for the mother's death to be transported to be buried with mom. So, there was one daughter, Harriet. What's that?
Low battery.
I brings 5 for this exact reason. Normally we have to change that out once, and it's at the end. We're still at the beginning.
Yep. Didn't you say that earlier?
What's that?
About the
Batteries being changed?
Yeah.
Last daughter, Harriet. She actually married in Horry. That's Myrtle Beach area. It's in Horry County. That's where she lived. This would not have been a 2.5-hour car ride to go see her daughter. Would have been lots of letter writing. Harriet doesn't show up often, but when she does show up, her name will be here and anything dealing with writing. So letters, paper, ink, paper, anything related to that. We also had the word published show up because those letters were published in the letter book of Eliza Lucas Pinckney. Lucas was the maiden name of the second wife who planted the indigo. The first wife was Eliza Lamb Pinckney, like the animal, L-A-M-B. So Lamb and Lucas were the maiden names that you were looking for there. Eliza Lucas married Charles Pinckney at the age of 22 when he was 45. So it doesn't sound so horrible when you actually hear the numbers.
Right.
Let's see, what else? Let's get into Eliza's death. This is where things get a little fun, especially with this group based on where you guys are all from. Eliza died 1793 at the age of 70 from breast cancer. Cancer wasn't even a known disease at the time. We are going based off of her medical records. She was going to Philadelphia for treatments for whatever she thought she had. That's where she died. That's where she's buried.
Look at us talking into
Somebody likes that.
I also want to point out that Stories in the Cemetery, the tour, does not take you to actual cemeteries. Why? Because when you're dead and gone, you're not going to hang out near your grave. You're going to go to your mansion 400 miles away in Charleston. So that's why we go to the locations that we do. I've been to plenty of cemeteries. I do not get much data at all that is relevant or provable. The president. Sorry, I had to think of where I was at. I got a little off tangent. The president that took her to her grave. Any guesses now that you know what year? 1793. Come on, history buffs, where you at?
Is it Martin Van Buren?
No.
No.
Earlier.
I know like 5 presidents, so.
Well, I guarantee you
James
know
Madison.
this one. It's George Washington.
No, so that was my third guess.
At his own request.
I was going to say Adams, but
Most people do. It was Washington. At his own request, he wanted to be honored by carrying her to her grave. I will tell you that Eliza is about 10 plots away from Ben Franklin.
Wow.
Yes. That's how prominent of a woman that she was for not just Charleston and South Carolina, but for the colonies. This was a huge deal. That's the second George. Remember Baby George?
Yeah.
There's a third George.
Okay.
Baby George was named after Eliza's father. Eliza's maiden name is Lucas. That makes her father George Lucas. So very easy name. Yes. Very easy name for me to remember. So 3 Georges, 3 Charleses, 2 Elizas. Lots of same name folks in here. I think that, does anybody ask anything rogue that I might be able to answer for you?
Nothing I got answers for.
I asked, did she have any pets?
I don't know. I'm not going to make stuff up. Say, sure, she had birds. Why not?
Sandy, this thing's going off when you asked that. This thing's really lighting up when you asked about the pet.
Sorry. Whenever we asked about like what religion, and it was like
She just said, we heard New Beginning and then something with God.
yeah.
She was Anglican.
Okay.
All right, so here's what's going to happen from here. We are going to go to Lodge Alley. That is about 3 blocks away from here. Those of you with EMF detectors, so that would be actually Mary and Haley.
Yeah.
You can ignore your readings. The parking meters make them go off because the electrical lines for those are underneath our sidewalks.
Okay.
So false positives, you can ignore it. You can even turn off your motion meter.
Yeah, I did.
Cameras, you can leave your cameras off until we get there. Lodge Alley is a brief stop. As we get there, by all means, get us some footage, especially with full spectrum. It might be dark down there because it is next to Magnolia's restaurant, which underwent a fire a few months ago.
Oh.
And the lights just turned back on a tour I had last week, but I haven't seen them on since. So we'll see if they're on tonight to give us a little bit of lighting along the way. As far as the spirit boxes, I do want you listening along the way. Here's why. I want you listening for names. I'm not going to tell you which gender or what names to listen for. That way you don't have subliminal messages, which, by the way, I did play a subliminal message trick on all of you. When we got here, I told you I'm not going to give you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse.
Oh, dude.
All passed with a fail. Good job.
Love it.
I do that on purpose to see who's going to be subject to subliminal messages. Again, you'd be surprised how many people come up to me right after I tell the history of this location and say spread out, that they say, was the President George Washington? I'm like, yes, but you need to keep it to yourself. I now know that I have to watch what I say around that person to make sure I'm not slipping up anything. So to make sure like what you guys are capturing is real evidence. I am most excited about this location for the 4-4 that we caught. I'm going to verify that to make sure it's not 4-5. And again, I'm 90% positive it is 4-4. My name here is exciting. The word buried also showed up on Sin's word list. That could be relevant to the baby. Also keep in mind, with that baby, I told you they would have transported him to the mother's grave. They would have sent him by carriage from this location all the way to Philadelphia to be buried with Mom.
Now, all right. So when I was at college at Charleston, I took a class on death and dying.
Okay.
And
are you correcting me? I would love to hear a correction.
well, I just know, like, I learned that we went on a little cemetery tour, like
Okay.
one of the, I forget which one, but our professor said that when children were buried, there were lambs on the gravestones, like to indicate that was a child.
Right.
So could that be like a thing?
There's
like
no headstone.
there's no headstone at all.
We have the name George on London's.
Oh, wow.
George.
That's
Wow.
pretty cool.
Okay.
It's
This is the stuff I can't make up, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if it seems like I have a lack of excitement, but this is what I do for a living.
Oh, no. That's,
I have a question. I have a question. Pinckney here, is it the same as in Mount Pleasant where they have the Pinckney house?
That's Charles Pinckney.
Charles Pinckney.
That would be the son.
The son of this Pinckney. Okay, I've
Correct.
been there. I've been there. That's cool.
Okay.
And the rice paddies.
So again, there's a lot of Pinckney history. We
Right.
actually met on Pinckney Street, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
We sure did.
Yeah.
So lots of Pinckneys here. And again, do you see another tour nearby? Nope. Nobody comes here. There's nothing to see.
I've done tons of them. I did not know this was anything. So, yeah.
Crazy stuff has happened in the past with the tours here. I actually had somebody on a spirit box over there said, I just heard like an appointment that said 2:30, you know, whatever. And then somebody over here heard the number 5. The address where we are is 235. You see where I have to put all these clues together and why you guys keep me around?
Yeah.
We have disembodied voices through spirit boxes here. That is not radio chatter. We've had my name show up here several times. I've had psychics and mediums pass out in this location. I I've had people's right leg start hurting. Remember I told you about Thomas Pinckney's left leg was shattered. It's always the right leg on my guests. I don't know why. It's happened 3 times now. The first time somebody passed out on one of my tours, I was in CPR class the next day.
Yeah, definitely.
Damn right.
Yeah.
I was new to the industry. I actually had a real job once, guys, just so you guys know. But anyway, enough about me. I say we go to the next stop.
Yes.
And let's see what we can go capture there. And just keep in mind, we're going to be hitting some traffic, foot traffic.
Yeah.
So we're going to be weaving.
Okay.
So I can keep this off?
Yeah, you can keep it off till we get there.
This is so cool. I wish we could go like in like that building.
You guys like my list of co-authors that we like once a month like they're into like it's more like spiritual side of things, like alien, like they believe they
Conspiracy.
or like that they
Not
can
abducted.
meditation, like they call it stars.
That's okay. That's
It's very interesting. I just wait and listen.
That's like Demi Lovato. She has a show about she's an alien. Okay.
She doesn't go by she, her pronouns.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what to call it. So I can't say she, but show is very interesting. I don't believe it. She believes in meditation that she can see the aliens. They. Gosh, I can't. This is too much pronouns. I just want to go to the.
Oh, I love that bar. That's the best bar.
Oh, Victor knows. I like this song. Whenever I play my video game, I take the EMF reader that she has, and then it's usually somebody who has the sphere box, and then somebody has a thermo, the thermometer to check if the room's cold. It's a fun game. I'll have to play it.
Used to be the wet willies on the street. Short way up. You ever been there?
No.
There's a slushy bar.
Yeah, dude. Very alcoholic slushy.
My first time. So you know those bands that look a little attack in the office is on Enzo. They're resulting in a safety bands that have
yeah,
like
the boost pops.
Yeah. So this is why I don't have friends in my class. So I was walking with this girl because this is my walking class. She said, since I just turned 21, I came to a boost pop thing, and they always look a little sketchy to me. But it seems kind of interesting. Have you ever had one? And then she ignored me. I didn't say anything. She just looked at me. And Mom was like telling me, she's like, see, I don't get why people ignore you. You just seem very nice. And I'm
What do you ladies think of her camp?
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, so she actually goes to school.
Yeah, I go to college in Charleston.
Oh, do you?
I live on James Island, and we have
James Island.
yes, and then we have family that live out on Seabrook. So we always travel down here in the summer. And
Yeah, it's a cool place to live.
yeah, we moved away from the cold for a reason.
Yeah, that's what we did. The last snow blizzard they had in Ohio, I was gone. 98. Out there.
I don't blame you.
I moved to Ohio in '98.
That's what we did. We moved out so you can move in.
Yeah, I think you just swap places.
Yeah.
Well, you have to dig your car out of the snow and shit. Yeah, I'm
The last time we had snow here, like they don't sell snow shovels at the Home Depot.
Oh yeah.
So I used the push broom to clear my driveway.
I remember whenever it was snowing here, and what was it? It was I couldn't go out. Mom and Dad wouldn't let me out because I had ACL surgery and I wanted to go see snow out on the beach. And what's that?
Yeah.
I had my brace. I could have gone out in my brace, but they let me go out when it was falling out, which I was a little mad about. One thing I like about this, so they haven't taken us to any of the places where tourists go. I've been on nice tourist groups so many times. I can tell you all the ridiculous stories about this.
All right, we didn't lose anybody to the bar. That's great. All right, so welcome to the lodge alley, everybody. We are lighted, which is good. Anybody hear any names? Spirit box folks. Any names?
I don't know if it's a name, Angel. That's all I know.
Okay.
I think that's it.
You heard
Wrong.
Mother
Christmas
Mary
song.
too.
You heard my
I did hear Mother. I heard Mother Mary as we were walking.
Interesting.
And she's a Mother Mary, and she's a Mother
I
Mary.
know.
All right,
Why
so
is that interesting?
so what's really weird is I'm seeing you got scared on the camera, but
Yeah.
everybody else, I don't see any other label on their shirt.
Probably because yours is screen printed.
Yeah. That's kind of funny though, because it's scared. Yeah.
Like that's really
So this
interesting.
location is a lot different than what we just went through. This is a residual area. What we just dealt with was an intelligent ghost, which means you can ask questions and get answers, right? They're interacting with you. This one's a lot different. When we crossed the last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. So we just talked about that wall a little bit before the tour. So this is one of the very first streets we ever had. That's why I like to bring you here. So with this location, I have the full list of people that used to live on this street. These two giant buildings we see now were not here. The list of names is not a big, long census list. Maybe 5 to 6 people lived here at any given time. These were little tiny shotgun houses, which means basically there were 1 to 2 rooms. These were lower class people. The other side of the wall would have been across the street on East Bay, which means the smell of low tide would have been coming through here quite often. Again, that's one of the reasons why those houses down in the Battery are tall and skinny. They would put the door on the piazza of their front porch, that way they would open the top window and it would give them air conditioning to circulate through the whole home. Much different layout. So, the names I commonly hear named down here, Benjamin and John. Now, they seem like very common names, but that's 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. I don't find it ironic or coincidental when I have those same 2 names pop up every 6 to 7 weeks. Like I'm watching a 6 to 7 week long movie and I'm just catching the tail end of it. And it shows up on different spirit boxes. But again, it's very interesting. We are in about week 2 of that circulation right now because I just had Benjamin and Sean show up about 2 weeks ago. So again, was I expecting it tonight? Not necessarily. But if it came up, awesome. Every once in a while, I'll get a third name, Jane. Again, very plain name, but it's not very common today. That is a third person that lived here in 1801. Again, not coincidental. The theory behind this is that you're walking on Belgian blocks. So these bricks are original, 1735. These are pure granite. Pure granite is kind of like limestone in the paranormal world. It holds on to the consciousness of memories, which is why I prolong us standing here for like 5 to 7 minutes on purpose, just so that the spirit boxes might be able to pick something up from that 6 to 7 week long movie. I get other terms here because before people lived here, this is where the Masonic Lodge was for Charleston, hence the name Lodge Alley. I have had the name Freemason, Mason, anything dealing with bricks, and I've even heard the term Illuminati several times in this location. Take that for what it's worth. So, it's not uncommon. The first time I heard it, I did the same thing you guys just did. I chuckled like, really? Illuminati? Freemasons? But again, this is where the lodge was at. So it's a very interesting space. We're going to walk through it slowly. We're going to continue to get some footage. If you guys, want to keep filming, you can. When we leave here, I'm literally taking you to the brink of where I'm allowed to take you. So when we leave this alley, videos get cut off, and we're going to make a right. So I'm literally like, we cannot go left when we leave the alley. We have to go right. We're going to go talk about another alley. However, I've been kicked out of that alley. You guys joined the annoying tour. We have the gizmos and lights and all that stuff, so it is considered residential at the end of it. And because I still get a ton of evidence, even from the location, so you guys can see down the alley, and I tell the story of what actually happened there. And it's very interesting because from then on, we will get clues based around that specific story around that place. It is one of the most haunted places we have, as far as how much activity I've gotten. And again, I know that I said the Pinckney Mansion, but the Pinckney Mansion to me is a hotbed. A hotbed of death that I get from that place. They did do an archaeological dig on this alley to help learn about the people that lived here. They found some of their silverware and clothes and tools, a lot of clay items, lots of wooden type of utensils, that kind of thing. So those things will pop up on your spirit boxes as well. For example, if I get fork and wood, I'll go through the report and see if there was a wooden fork or a fork with a wooden handle, which has been a common thing. Obviously, that's why it came to mind. So this is a very interesting space, different type of ghost. And we're going to talk, every place I take you tonight is a different style. So we dealt with intelligent, this is residual. The next place is, it's still up for debate whether it's residual or intelligent because of the amount of clues that come up, and they're always different. It's never the same thing twice. It's very rare that I hear the same thing twice, or things that have come up down there twice. So it's just an interesting space. You can make the determination for yourselves, but after that we're going to be talking about a female pirate, and we're going to be diving into Anne Bonny. So if you're into pirates, this is a crazy ass story. I don't even like pirates, but I will tell you, once I got kicked out of Philadelphia Alley doing investigations, I had to reroute everything. And once I had my first night of evidence, holy cow. And I will tell you about that when I'm telling you the story. So again, hopefully this is more than what you guys were expecting. And we're going to be deep diving into 2 other major stories around Charleston. In the event something pops up on your spirit boxes that you hear or what we see on the word list that we have here, I will throw in a few extra myths and legends that are around town just based on that. But because we spent so much time at the Pinckney Mansion site, I usually eliminate the legends and lore if we're having a good time over at Pinckney. Good time meaning evidence.
Yes.
So, and I think we actually captured quite a few, which means there's more. I will also kind of exploit the fact that you only capture about 40% of your total evidence in real time. The other 60% comes from research. That's why I give you all the data back. You could leave here tomorrow and my name showed up and you remember the number 44. But how many other things am I going to find when I go through it if I don't give you the data? Make sense? That's true. Yep. Let's go talk about Philadelphia Alley. Because Matt's getting forward. Oh, yes, they're going to change it. Yep, yep. 21 cents. Yes. You're supposed to scream at me. My bad. I know. My stuff's on my sleeve. Actually, I hand this right back to you. While I change up.
Dude, look at this. Who is here? You see that?
Again, I have
I mean, it just looks like.
I know. I keep seeing that. Yeah.
What's that?
I do that just in case, because sometimes I'll go to an investigation in Alberta that I've been invited to.
Hey, we have a question on the camera.
That one should last another
Okay.
It's there. Oh, it's like a head.
I have a question on this
Like an
camera.
arm right there.
Oh, dude, I can kind of see it. Yeah. Like
That
what's it? Like.
spot right.
It might be wet up there.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll look at the.
Because like while you were talking, I was like focused on that area, and it just looked like it was just
So
really
it comes
dark.
up out of the. A lot of times, like in real time, like I said, it can be hard to decipher. That's why I always go to the recorded video.
Okay.
So we'll kind of see what happens.
Feeling if they touch the stone, and if I touch the stone,
Were there any bracelets found?
A good possibility. I can't say for sure.
I heard bracelets were very good. I'm just saying things. That was not my favorite thing. The back of the only way this was. Yes, I saw it go up. Yeah. If I touched the stone. Because they.
I'm realizing now that like if we were in a scary movie, I'm the one that's gonna get picked off because I'm filming everything and stopping.
Don't worry. I'm
and
looking at this.
and getting left behind.
I'm getting left behind because I'm thinking I'm getting a 2.7. All right, we're coming.
We're gonna get picked off by ghosts.
3.3.
3-3.
3.3.
It's like, what was the last one? You said 25.
2.7. All right, coming.
This is good. getting something.
I'm moving it. That's.
Oh.
We're coming. We're having fun in the alley.
Am I supposed to turn this off?
I don't know. Maybe?
Story, you guys ready?
Yeah,
That's a good one. We're going to be. You stop. I try to give teenagers away, but
I know, I've tried it too. Nobody wants them.
Too. She still got it.
she hasn't said a peep. So, we're going to be talking about the building behind you with the crosses on it. First off, those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. Earthquake bolts, the gist of those is if we have another earthquake, which we haven't since 1886, you can actually tighten those slowly, and it'll straighten the building back up if it's been moved around a little bit. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. I bring it up at this location because those are the very first earthquake bolts that Charlestown put in. So, this is the Gunpowder Magazine. This held gunpowder for 7 different wars. There's that number again, 7.
Yeah.
So you know, Civil War was its last servant. However, the time period that it took to build this building is why we come here. It is a familiar time and location for our pirate. But I do want to tell you a little bit about the Powder Magazine to kind of give you the gist of the Charlestown Walls. So I told you about that back at Lodge Alley. This was the street we crossed. This is where the wall was, literally. Like we're inside the city, just inside. It went up past the Powder Magazine about half a block and started going south towards the back. It's literally locked into the corners on purpose. It's only gunpowder. We're trying to protect it. So if it gets attacked from the water, from pirates from 3 blocks away or any other war we are going through, those walls are 32 inches thick. You're gonna have a hard time getting all the way through, especially from that distance. But let's say it does. It goes all the way through and it blows up the gunpowder. Underneath those red shingles, as we get closer, you'll see them. There's sand that was put in there in 1712, the year before it was finished. The sand is supposed to blow up because it's not going to go out through the big, thick walls. And then when it falls, it's supposed to put out the fire of the gunpowder. It's another great idea that doesn't work. We had another powder magazine near the battery, and it was much closer to the water, based if you know our geography. The peninsula gets skinnier. It got, there it is. At first yawn of the night. Good job. So, that one got blown up, sand went up, it fell, the building burned to the ground. So it's a theory that just doesn't work. This one's just never been attacked. So that's why it's still here. Now this is a very small building, which means it took our government 10 years to build it. Literally, 1703 to 1713. The reason why we're here is because it's familiar to our spirit that comes here. She is said to be seen all over town. Her name is Anne Cormack. She came here in 1708 with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. You guys with me so far?
Yes.
The 3 of them are getting away from his wife. Kind of twisted? You guys got me so far? There's a couple twists and turns in this one. So, they land in Georgetown. It's about an hour and a half away. Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. He starts sending the daughter down here to sell anything from the plantation so that he can keep things afloat. That's why we come here. It's a familiar ghost. So, when she gets down here, we're going to fast forward. 1713, the building's finished, right? 1715 is when the pirates are coming through town. When Anne still lived in Ireland, they said she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly when she was just a child. Like, I'm talking like 7, 8 years old. She killed. So, she's pretty hardcore and badass. So when 1715 rolls around and these pirates are here, she's stoked, right? She falls in love pretty quickly. This guy's name is James Bonny. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica and get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age, and her career started right where you're standing. So, when she gets there, she realizes James is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she wanted. This is not a kick-ass pirate like she wanted. So, he's a privateer, which basically means he's a spy and a coward. He's a spy for the British. He's reporting back to the British, telling them where the pirates are. So, a couple of years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. We're going to call him Jack through the rest of the story. It's called Calico Jack because he wears the jackets of the men he kills. So, this is Captain Jack Sparrow that she wanted. He has his own ship. She wants to be part of it. Females curse pirate ships. You can't put a girl on the crew. He makes a deal. If you dress like the guys and hide your gender, you can be part of the crew and be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to dress her up as a boy back home in Ireland to hide her away from his wife. She doesn't care. Let's do this. I'm a pirate. Being a female in his quarters, put 2 and 2 together, she gets pregnant. Cannot have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. It's not going to work. Somebody's going to figure it out. He drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby. There's your secret. Have the baby, come back. We'll figure it out later. She has the baby, comes back with no kid. We have no idea what happened to the baby. She's also dressed like a female. She no longer gives a damn about hiding her gender. This makes Jack pretty mad, and you already know Anne's demeanor. He just captured another pirate crew, and they're down below deck. She's going to go flirting, because that's what Anne does. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females doing the exact same thing on the same ship. She convinces this young lady, whose name was Mary Reed. So, with that, she convinces Mary to become part of the crew, and the British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet to come and take over one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to fight back with their 1-bullet muskets. Obviously, the ship is going to get taken by the British. As they're being arrested, Anne's last words were, "Jack, you should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog." So the word dog shows up here quite often. The judge, Nicholas Laws, another Chief Justice with my name. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back by themselves. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and his men, except for these 2. The 2 ladies go in front, they reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. Still going to hang them because they're still pirates. We plead our bellies was the last thing they said trying to save themselves, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It is illegal. He sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Dad is still here in Charleston with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries, guy number 4, because yes, we're counting Mary. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending, but that's all we know about her career after piracy. As far as Mary Reed goes, she died a year later in a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. That was 1721. So, a couple of things here. When you're asking questions on your spirit boxes, this is an open forum. This is your level 3. You guys know what you're doing by now. The only 2 things I left out on purpose so you have something to get started with, because there is a lot of holes in this story. The name of Calico Jack's ship and the name of Anne Bonny's parents. So I left those out purposely. Those are 2 things I can prove for sure. You ask other rogue questions and get direct answers, please let us know what they are. I will tell you, somebody passed out here a few months ago. Here's what happened. I pull everybody over to the back ivy wall like I normally do. And before I told the story, a young man on the tour started, he got white as a ghost, no pun intended. And literally I had to catch him by the shoulder, and his boyfriend picked him up on the other shoulder, and we took him over to that brick wall over there. I send the boyfriend across the street, because I know there's a vending machine there, gave him a few dollars, go get him a bottle of water. Come back, he's feeling better, I tell the story. It's important. After the story is told and I spread everybody out, they pull me aside. Nick, we need to tell you something. We are 2 transgender males. We are 2 females dressed like men.
Oh, wow.
And it made complete sense to them at that point.
Oh, wow. Whoa.
Bro.
I also told you I've been kicked out of Philadelphia out.
Yeah.
London was there for that night. She remembers it vividly. She thinks it's hysterical that her father got yelled at. So that was November 26th, 2020, the day before Thanksgiving. We were off on Thanksgiving for these reasons. We come back out and I reroute the tour and I told what I knew about Anne Bonny. I decided I'm going to let everybody explore. We'll see what happens. Everybody's out exploring and we heard the number 300. We also heard Anne's name. Now, the number 300 is relevant because the date that we started coming here on the tour was November 28th, 2020. The date of Anne and Mary's trial before Chief Justice Nicholas Laws was November 28th, 1720. 300 years exactly to the day.
Oh my God,
That's crazy.
I don't like pirates. That's not my thing. That's her mom's thing. That's why I don't like pirates. I'm remarried. I'm into vampires. Always have been. I will tell you, after hearing the number 300 and Anne here the very first night, I have read about 5 or 6 books on Anne Bonny alone because the story has that many holes. What I told you tonight are just the common things among those books. I do a lot of research. A lot of research, even when something pops up new in these locations. This is a hit or miss. Your EMF readers, you probably won't get anything. If you do get something out of your EMF readers, I'll be super excited. That means something else is going to have something relevant. Again, Anne is said to be seen all over town. I come here because we don't have many buildings this old. That's why we're here. There is one other building in Charleston that is a year older, but there is no record of it. Official record, I should say. It was finished in 1712, and that is the Pink House on Chalmers Street. So, very interesting space. If you want to get into that and talk to me about it, I know a lot about it because I've looked into it about doing an investigation. But anyway, That is the only other building that I know of that is older than this particular building. This is the oldest government building in South Carolina. Those of you with video, if you want to get film from the front lawn, you can. You want to go up there and put your cameras inside the wrought iron gates and don't drop my equipment, by all means do so. Just stay out of the other tours' way, because they all stop in front. I bring my tours back here to tell the story because they cut through a lot.
Yeah.
So again, that's why I stay out of everybody's way. We will end at the wall over there, so that way I can put my bag down and collect equipment, answer questions, and get everybody back to their cars safely, however I need to get you there. But we are going to spend a good 10-15 minutes here. Has anybody heard anything on spirit boxes since we've been here?
I've heard one thing. When you were talking about how she needed to dress up as a man, I heard, like, welcome to the team. I just kind of thought that was funny.
I love
like,
it.
you were like, welcome to the team.
I
love
do
that.
get senses of humor here. One night, particular, I was listening, I was going through the data, and it was at the end, the last 15 minutes of the recording, and it said, it was two ladies that they were laughing and said, they think we're guys. It was hysterical to me. I'm in my office, like, chuckling. Of course, I wear earbuds when I'm listening, so nobody in the house knows what the hell I'm laughing at. They think I'm working up there, and I'm up there laughing. But
He's watching cat videos.
Yeah, I know, right? But again, there's a lot of relevant things that happen here. But again, this could be a location where nothing happens. So we'll see. Let's spread out.
I got something really random.
You have 7? Again, we can't make this stuff up. John Calhoun's right there, guys.
What is it?
She
It
got
says
7.
7th. I can't make it up.
I heard
What'd you
one,
get,
what
Bailey?
did you hear? One number?
No, I heard something really random. It's just Delaware.
Yeah.
That could be relevant to something. I don't know what.
But I
like it.
When we first walked in here, all I heard was Delaware.
Executive.
And then nothing.
I wonder.
Consecutive?
Yeah, I wanted somebody to
Does that say consecutive?
Executive.
Oh.
And then I heard.
I heard, okay, I don't know if this, I don't think it means anything, but when we were over there talking, like a few minutes ago, I heard a laugh in my ear, and we got here and I heard the same exact laugh. I don't know if the radio is just playing a laugh on repeat, or, but it sounds like, it's like a wheezy laugh, I don't know.
Well, yours is the one that's recording, so hopefully I catch it on my spot check.
Yeah. Watch it not be a laugh, and it's just like a distorted.
Now you gonna go in there and you wanna watch this?
Y'all can come with me.
Yeah, we get locals that walk through here.
I thought it
watch
was
the laser too.
Ariana, but it was another Ariana. Yeah, that welcome to the team was kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we're going to do a battery pump. It's the only way to do it.
I did the one number I don't think I'm using anything, 264. 264, don't, probably nothing, but I don't know.
So I do small extras or something down at the top of my head.
Just something messy with stuff. Oh, do I have my phone? Yeah, I got it.
It's not messing up.
Where's Boo?
Right, is that it right there, right
Yep,
there?
I got it. Good. No, you're good. So all I do is I do a battery pump. Give it like 3 seconds. Push it back in. Yeah, it's good for, but it's also dark. There you go. Happens. What do you think, man?
I'm still kind of confused. 'Cause, like this has been bouncing around a lot.
See, I don't think that car's in view. Because windshields will always be colder because it's glass. I do want to test something here because we caught something last week that I couldn't figure out what it was. Why don't you follow me over here? The street light. So a lot of times something will be cold around something that's super warm. So you might have like this yellow area and then you'll have a black outline on it. And we had something that was bouncing around. Oh, it's right there. See it? So what the hell is that? It's the third window over from the tower. So 1, 2, 3.
Is that the street? Is that the
It
light on the
It might
roof?
be the light. It might be the street light. It's got to be something with that light. I can't figure it out. But it's just weird we can't see the post. Just so
It's
weird.
probably because the post is so cold, it's not going to register.
And it looks like it's the same temperature as the cement behind it on the parking garage. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So weird. But yeah, I watched that video like 1,000 times trying to debunk it because it had this weird cold spot and it was moving. So, but I was like, but that, I know that street light's right there. You know what I mean? So,
That's weird.
It is. But again, I'll keep testing it until I get it again. All right, lady, who we got?
We really didn't get it. We've got yes. We're trying to ask the name of the ship one too. We got and then we got O'Reilly. O'Reilly, but I don't know.
Had the word, Irish up here, and her maiden name was Morgan, but it was. So it had that Mick in front of it. They removed it. So my grandmother married me 7 times. I never met my real grandfather, on the maternal side.
Okay.
But his name coming over here from the Ukraine was "You son of a bitch."
That's so awesome.
So we changed it because obviously he worked in steel mills and everybody was poking fun at it.
Yep.
We changed it to Lane.
Oh, wow. That's a very
Very simple.
simple name. Yeah.
So then my grandmother remarried again, and his last name was Barone. So obviously big ties to Italian. And Youngstown was kind of the stop between New York City and Chicago. So lots of, I'll just say it, mafia was coming through.
Yep.
And I will tell you that he probably married into our family to get.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's like.
That's crazy family history.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
It's so much fun to it's funny because our mom used to go into the genealogy of the family, and now as an adult I'm like, it's so cool.
It's really cool shit when you can actually dig it up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you can, and that's like what I'm doing here.
Yeah. This is awesome. How did you get into this? Just interesting.
Ever since high school.
That's
I was
awesome.
always
I've gotten interested in that in the last year, like the whole tarot and astrology and numerology.
Well, if you really want to deep dive into that, I have a few episodes on cartomancy to tell you about how playing cards were originated, and they were not meant to play poker.
Okay.
They were basically tarot cards. So put 2 and 2 together. There's 4 different suits.
Suits and then
4 seasons. We have 52 cards. There's 52 weeks. It's all zodiac.
I didn't.
All
Wow.
and there's ways to, like, if you look up old gypsy styles, like, that my grandmother used to read, it was a family style. So that was kind of like after I came into that stuff. So, again, I got into it pretty deep, but I do have a couple of references listed.
Okay.
My Captain Blonde, that was books I read.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Cause I've just gotten into it and stuff, and I think it's just so cool. It's weird.
And books and journals and keeping track of that kind of thing. So just not a lot of having stuff in farms.
Yeah.
So we have spare rooms. My whole office is nothing but pendulums and crystals and that kind of shit. So it's obviously what I do for a living.
Yeah.
At her mom's house, she has Ouija board decoration. Like in our house, we have it to use.
See, I don't use Ouija boards because I just yeah.
Yeah, I
just,
don't-
like people who use it wrong. And my mom, when she was a younger child, she used it, and for some reason,
Like to this day, she's
terrified people because when it happened, the mother and one sister was downstairs, and the light switch stopped working. They saw, and they're in the middle of nowhere. There was red eyes that came through the window. There was no cars that passed by. The door wouldn't lock. It was locked when they were screaming, and the door, you had to pull the door towards you. The door was locked from like the outside, and it wouldn't come out. And
It's just a matter of knowing how to use it. Of course, with the equipment that I have now, like we're able to record. My wife is involved to make sure I'm safe because I get channeled a lot.
Oh, wow.
And I don't remember anything, so we're gonna start filming.
Oh, that's so cool.
But I mean, I use cards all the time. I just bought a pendulum, and I
I don't use it like I'm holding it. I have it actually, I made so it'll actually hang on its own, so it's not me influencing it. And I bought a pendulum board, so it's almost like a Ouija board, but it's in a circular motion.
It can like
It has the full alphabet, it has all, so it'll point.
it points so you don't have to touch it.
And there's things in my bag to help keep this a safe tour, because there have been nights when I first started this, it was not safe. Like, you guys were bringing shit, and I was taking it home.
Oh my god. That would be scary.
I have epilepsy. It's not a good time.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So if I get back to the car and I'm texting a verbal text to my wife, she knows I gotta wait before I can run. I'm pretty good about hiding it when things are happening with me, you know, but it's still, I can't drive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I take a chance. There's been some nights I had vets on the tour. It didn't matter what story I told. Everything was about whoever they lost overseas. Whether it was Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Storm, whatever. It didn't matter. I've had it happen.
When you say take stuff home,
They'll just attach themselves to me and follow me.
It's so crazy
like
how
spirits and stuff. And how would you feel?
I would tell you from what I can remember, because most of the time, if it's too heavy, I'll pretty much black out. I mean, I'll still be talking to you, but I'll have no recollection of what's going on. But there's basically, my spine will lock up, and it feels like there's electricity running through it. My eyes will start moving, because that's one of my epilepsy symptoms.
Yeah.
So, like, if my eyes are moving all over the place, like, I'm looking at you straight on.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to do that. My eyes would be all over the place.
Gotcha.
I will reverse words. So, like, I will say this, like, I'll give you a sentence, like, Emily's wearing a green dress. Emily, green dress, Emily has, is what'll come out. And you have to remember, I'm the English guy. So I know that's going on. So that's where I know, like, I need to hurry up the tour, get it going, and I got to get back to the car to get my meds to make sure I'm balanced back out again.
Wow.
So, again, and it's not just an epilepsy thing. It's just a matter of, like, my mind reacts differently than, say, just a headache or nausea or dizziness, like what I told you guys about earlier. It just influences me differently. So, yeah, there's stones all over my back. That my wife called all my psychic friends and said, you got to start sending Nick shit. He's got this new career. It's gonna take off. Yeah. And obviously it's gonna be lucrative. I left a 6-figure income to do this. Wow. So I was like, I'm gonna use my damn degrees. I'm gonna tell stories, and I'm just gonna have fun. But yeah, there's stones all throughout my bag. Like there's little satchels of blessed stones, and I still like have to go down to the beach and get salt water and re-bless them every few months, that kind of thing. So I follow their rituals because I'm not a religious person. Yeah. So I have their instructions that they emailed me, and I just have to follow the rules. As long as I do that, everybody here stays safe. I haven't had an instance. I mean, that transgender thing, I had no control over it. It didn't matter what I did. No. So, but there's other times where it's been too strong. I had a psychic on a tour. They drop like a wet noodle once they hit Pinky Mansion. Like they are down. Happens. It's the nature of the job. That's why I give the people warning. I'm gonna follow up with them. So.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Sorry. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, you. Wow, that's so cool. I should have told Sam about this. We have to get him on this because he thinks, like, he believes in it. Like, he believes there are ghosts. And, like, he's like, oh, no.
Don't talk bad. Don't even bring up anything bad. Like, non-belief.
No, I'm not saying that. Did not say that. I believe in there should be an eagle in the world. It's just like you ask the questions.
Clear as day out of nowhere, I just got in these waters and I just saw that funny because the ship's in these waters.
I want to get closer to the show.
It was a dead.
What was the name of the ship?
Oh, Ryan's belt.
Is that the name of the ship, or are you just seeing Orion's belt?
No, I just saw Ryan's belt.
Oh, I was like, that'd be really crazy. I was like, what?
What was the name of your ship?
One thing I do need to do, when we finish this, I need to go to the bathroom.
Same here. I'm like,
What was the name of your ship?
Will you touch the antenna? Well, I was going to touch my friend what I was using.
the Black Pearl.
Do you want to try this?
No, I'm not messing with that.
No, this was a different laugh. This was a lady.
That's so cool. I don't mess with the ghost stuff. Like, to me, I'm interested in like the astrology and zodiac stuff because I think it's really cool, like how things are related. But when it comes to ghosts and stuff, I leave.
No, like the scary movies that like paranormal stuff.
Oh.
No, I don't watch that because that's
Exorcist,
just real.
like I'm still scarred.
I have never watched it.
Don't watch it.
I turned it off at the beginning because I was bored.
Oh.
Like before anything actually happened, I turned it off because I was like, this is slow and boring. Like,
I watched it in 4th grade and like was scarred for life.
my uncle was telling me about it. He went and saw it like the opening weekend. Like, people were throwing up in the theater and leaving and passing out and having massive panic attacks. Like, because it was
That
70s. Like,
Yeah.
it was like the scariest movie of its time. And to this day, people are saying it's still really
it's just
scary.
the concept is creepy because you're just like
What movie is this?
The Exorcist.
I never really watched that. Isn't that the paranormal Ouija board?
The
No.
girl is possessed,
Like
and they
the-
have the Catholic Church come and like try and do an exorcism.
Reagan. The girl, like, she's like spinning her head around. She's throwing up green shit. She's
Like-
walking down the stairs like backwards, like a spider.
Okay, yeah, I've seen like
she's,
clips. I've just never watched
She's
it.
doing stuff to herself with a crucifix.
It's kind of like Amityville horror-esque.
It's so like I always like whenever I watch
Amityville Horror. I watched most of that.
I watched part of
The
it.
one with the Ryan Reynolds, the remake, not the
The
original.
original is the one I watched.
My mom grew up near there,
She did.
near it, like.
All right, so a couple of things that we did.